Hello my little friends, welcome back to the channel. It is me. Today I want to show you how to mount a bromeliad because I've had a number of people actually asking me, so how do you actually mount a bromeliad? Is there a trick to it? Is there a knack to it? Well, behind me I have got a tree stump with some bromeliads on it. Acmea orlandiana, Neurogelia, and then also an Acmea Platycerium vichii, which is a fern, and then some more orlandianas and a little Neurogelia around the back there, a miniature. And what I want to do today is actually just talk a little bit about how to mount a bromeliad. What do you need to think about, what you need to take into account, what not to do, or I suppose, yeah. So let's take a second and show you a couple of other plants that have been mounted that are different to these, and see what their growth habit is, and that's where you've got to take your cue from. So you need to know your plant. Most plants come from epiphytes come from very humid areas. And what does epiphyte mean? An epiphyte literally means epi meaning on and phyte meaning plant, so it literally means on plant, and in this case on trees. Bromeliads are able to grow on dead wood, but because they hold water, over time that wood will rot, so it is best to actually just use something alive. Unfortunately, having this space, I've not had this space for a long time, the garden is not mature, I don't have very many big trees anymore, as opposed to my old garden, so I have to make do with what I have, and this is what I have to make do with. So let's take a look at some of those bromeliads and then we can do the mounting. Okay, firstly, this is Freesia somnians. So it starts in the base, the mother is already gone, it's completely disappeared. I put it into sort of very wood chippy type stuff on the ground, and then the way in which this bromeliad, which is very unique, flowers, or relatively unique in comparison to normal bromeliads, is this would have been the flower spike going all the way up, all the way up, all the way up, right the way up to there where the flower spike is. So that was the old flower, and once the flower actually perishes, or it goes into setting seed and all of that sort of lovely stuff, the plant has this ability to actually create pups along this flower spike. And if I just show you what that looks like right there, you can actually see it's coming straight out of those bracts, and the plant will then attach itself to the wood as soon as it matures. So that's one. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Here we've got an Acmea again. This is a hybrid a friend of mine made, and this one literally you cannot really see where it's attached, but it's relatively rooted, especially the younger ones, and that's also something that I will talk to with respect to age of the plant that you're actually mounting. You generally don't want to mount a plant which is already flowered. You mount a young plant, so a pup. Or if you've got a cluster like this, that's also a good idea, because then the plants have got companionship with one another, which is important. And as the young pups come out, they can then, there's the stolon that I was talking about in this case. Not all of them produce the stolon, but this one's got a very short stolon, and where it makes contact with the wood, the roots will actually come out from below there and then attach itself to the wood. Sorry for my really dusty fingers. So yeah, and remember, because it holds water, you need to keep it in an upright position, so when it does rain, the plant is actually still able to capture water and funnel it down toward the root area. So that's something very important to remember as well. Yeah, and then lastly, let's take a look at a Tillandsia. Okay. So here's a Tillandsia fasciculata, which I mounted quite a while ago. This was the old mother which flowered, and you can see the old broken off flower stalk right there. This piece of wood is dead, and it's rotting right now. So the idea is, the best thing to do is actually to plant, to mount it onto something living. If you don't have that and you're actually doing it in your house, or you don't have very big trees in your garden, then a good piece of hardwood is a good idea. So yeah, this is a really beautiful plant, and you can actually see that it is pupping profusely. So there's a pup coming out there in a very upright position. There's another one just coming out right in there. Let's see if I can focus on that for you. Yeah, there we go. And it actually looks like there's another one coming in the back there, which I don't think is visible just yet to your eye. And then on the other side there is also one, and that's pretty much that's what they look like. So this is really beautiful, and I am going to show you how to mount a bromeliad. Cool. Let's go and mount a plant. Okay, so I've got my assistant Jocelyn with me. Say hi, Jocelyn.
Hi.
What I just thought about right now is just to show you what some bromeliads will do once they actually really get going on the wood. And here I found a Tillandsia, which this is ultimately what you're gonna get. So you can actually see how aggressive the root system is once it finds something favorable to attach itself to, and you can see the little lateral roots coming off there. And that is a really good healthy attachment. So this plant is not going to go anywhere, and it's actually it's mounted on, if I can just zoom back out a little bit more, it's actually mounted on a piece of driftwood which Jocelyn is holding. Because we live in a forested area, our rivers constantly kick out these kinds of things, and when it goes into the sea, you obviously want to soak it in some fresh water first to get rid of the salts for a good couple of days. Excuse me, and then you can attach it. Alternative to that, you could actually just get some wood, cut it up, and make a nice mounting. So you can hang it up, and if I just take that, thanks Jocelyn, if I just take that and this is actually where it lives, up there. So I literally just, let me just stick it up there, and that's where that plant lives. So it's in direct sunlight for most of the day, but we generally, as you can see, we've got pretty good cloud cover. A very beautiful day today. So let's get down to mounting. Okay, follow me. So we're back. With me I've got the lovely Acmea orlandiana, a very nice mature specimen. She has not flowered yet, and I'm going to mount it to this structure that I've actually built right here, which is basically just 3 young pine poles which have been logged, and I've stuck them into the ground, and you can see there's a platycerum up there, and up there there's a Tillandsia fasciculata. So I literally don't have, if you look around, there isn't much in the way of trees around this area yet, so the garden still needs to mature, and because of that I am forced to use a lot of dead wood. So that's what we're using, dead wood. Not ideal, but I personally prefer to use living things. And then in terms of what you'll need, right, so you will need I've got my trusty toolbox, which contains all of my little tools. So I've got some wire for when I need the wire, good pair of pliers, a really good knife. Sometimes you need glue, but generally not in this case either. Okay. And what I am going to use are these, which are fencing staples. So the fencing staples, I have, usually when you get them from the store, they are very narrow. So what I've done is I've just taken a piece of metal, put it in there, and I've taken the hammer and I've just kind of wedged it in there to actually widen the staple up. So I have two with different sizes, and why we need this is, let me show you. So remember the stolon I told you about? That is the part of the bromeliad that you are going to attach to the wood. So on this side here, you can actually see we recently moved house, and so I've had to take the bromeliads from the old house and actually bring them down to the nursery and to our new house, where here you can actually still see some of the bark, which is, the plant has actually attached itself to the tree, and this was a live tree that it was attached to. So I've unfortunately had to take it off, but we're going to give it a new home right now. And then with this particular species of Acmea, that little bump, I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up, but that little bump right there is basically the sign of a new bromeliad that will come from this stolon, and it will come out and then kind of grow over here. So one thing you need to remember when you're mounting a bromeliad is always choose the rainy side of the tree, unless you live in the tropics, where it really, I don't think, will matter. But we get our rain from the, we got a year-round rainfall, and we generally get our rain from two directions, but mostly on this side of the branch. So the sun is generally on the other side, and the sun comes in from that side. So I want to mount it on this side here. I'm going to be honest with you, this mounting is not ideal. It's not the most perfect place to mount it, because it's got the staghorn right here, and as the staghorn ages, these sexual fronds are going to actually cover this front area. It's going to actually become quite big and will actually wrap itself all the way around the wood. So ideally, I would like something better. I don't have that right now, but for all intents and purposes, this will do, and that's what I'm going to show you. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So before you actually mount, you need to find a space where the plant is actually going to feel comfortable, look good. It's going to be in an upright position so that when it does rain, it is going to capture a lot of water. And also, if you know your storms and the wind directions and that sort of thing, maybe that's a bit too complicated, but what you want to do is you want to put it so that it is mounted so that it's unobtrusive. It doesn't, you know, just completely catch the wind and the wind will rip it off the wood. So I've already sort of preempted, and I've looked at this, and this is where I want to put it. I want to put it like that, right? And then this pup over here might come off, and the plant might decide to do something and wrap it around. It may decide to come this way. It may even just come straight off here and then produce another one later on that will go up, because it now detects the surface of the wood. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it in place. I can see the water dripping a little bit, and I'm going to take the fencing staple, and I don't know, Joss, if you can see that. I'm going to put it over like that, okay, and I'm going to hold it, which is quite difficult because it's quite heavy and it's full of water, and I'm literally just going to nail it in. And then that's one, and just for safety, I'm going to put a second one in there. Okay, so now you can see that I've stopped just before I actually begin to hurt the stolon, because that is live tissue. So I don't want to hurt the bromeliad. I just want to actually get it nice and firm so it's stuck there, it's not going. So that, guys, is pretty much how to mount a bromeliad. If you like this video and you would like to see more, please subscribe to our channel, which is called Gardening with Gabriel. And I am Gabriel. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit the like button, leave us a comment if you'd like to see something different. Let me know, and I hope you have a good day. Keep your fingers green, keep gardening, and adios for now.